Welcome again to the second episode of the NFC East show. And it's hosted by myself, the Philly sports guy, Sneaky G, TruBlu, and Keith Engle, who from TGI Sports, who will be in momentarily. He's finishing up his other show because there's other sports that are happening, and he does all the sports as well. So, how you doing, guys?
Oh, great.
Great. Really good. How you doing?
It was a nice week. I mean, it was gorgeous outside. And you know what? And there was only a little bit of talk of how bad the Eagles, did this week because of the trade. There's a lot of animosity about the trade actually in Philadelphia.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
They have mixed emotions, as they would say here in Philly, and so. But that's all. We'll get to that in a little bit here. And of course, like I said, Keith is going to be following us here very shortly. He'll be in pretty quickly. And tonight, guys, just to give a little bit of a preface, we're going to talk about how 2020 started, went on, and ended. And it really was literally a hodgepodge for the NFC East. Never has the NFC East dealt with such a year. And I felt that this was probably, let's get this off of our chests. Let's get it out of our systems, shake it out some, get it all out of our systems so that we'd be able to move forward and get on with 2021. And I guess I'm going to lead off since we brought up the rear of this, and where we started off with such high hopes, especially because we felt that in 2019 our season ended really prematurely, that we felt that if we had Carson Wentz for the playoff game, that we probably would have beaten Seattle, and what is arguably a dirty hit and a dirty play that knocked him out of the game. And not having a backup quarterback, he got on pretty fast. He was able to work on. Welcome, Keith.
Wow. Hi, guys. How are you?
Keith.
Well, yeah, welcome. I tell you, he had to jump. He had to change. He had to do quick change and everything.
Man.
And here he is. So,
Jeez, I even took my wig off for the show here.
There you go. Well, I appreciate that. So, and just to fill you in, Keith, on what it is that we're talking about, we're discussing what was the year of 2020 and why the NFC East was so bad. And I was leading off because we brought up the rear. I brought up the rear, and I was just talking about how in 2019 our playoff ended 3 minutes in because of a cheap shot by Jadeveon Clowney on Carson Wentz that gave him a concussion and really ended our season at that moment, because ultimately the Seahawks were able to beat us 17-9 for the second time in a row at the same score in our home. And so inauspiciously we had a lot more high hopes. A lot of the team was coming back, and then all of a sudden everybody started to get hurt. And before the season even started, we had a little bit of controversy. We were supposed to have the bodyguard, Jason Peters, move to guard because Brooks was, hurt in that same game. He wound up pulling his Achilles for the second time, or tearing his Achilles for the second time, and he was going to be out for the year. So Jason Peters was going to move to that guard position where Brooks was, and then because we had injuries at the tackle position, Dillard got hurt. He decided that, because he had to play tackle, he wanted more money. And that started a little bit of a rift because he's got a really big friendship with the owner. And he wound up getting the extra money. And I think that started to put a bad taste in the mouth from the very beginning. And then Carson Wentz wasn't the same Carson Wentz because he had a little bit of looking behind my shoulder-itis, because they had drafted a quarterback in the second round. And ultimately, let's move it to week 9, where he had thrown 16 interceptions and just was not playing very well at all. And then finally gets benched for Jalen Hurts. And I was saying, even from the moment that I met you, Keith, that the moment that we lose that Jalen Hurts starts, that this season was over. And unfortunately, they proved me right. Yeah. There's a lot more of a fill in this, but I wanted to just give my 3-minute soliloquy here on this is the year 2020 of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Jamie, well, you want something for your tears? You want something for your tears?
I'm not crying because it was a bad season all the way around.
Oh, okay. I just asking.
But just make sure to keep them because you're going to be coming up soon. Obviously, the next person to come up would be Caddy Corner from myself. TruBlu. Oh, there we go. Right down there. TruBlu.
It's good. It's good to know that Dallas Cowboys live in other people's homes.
Yeah. Yep. In the best ways. Definitely. They get flushed all over. Real quick, TruBlu, if you could, just for a quick 3 to 5 minutes, just tell us kind of what the story was of the Dallas Cowboys for last year.
Well, we had the first coach. That's first and foremost, going out there and getting a new hire, Coach McCarthy, and everything that was leading after that. The entourage that he brought in, the whole spiel that he gave during that whole press conference, trying to lead up on how he'd been studying the analytics, how he had these guys sitting in a room for months on end, never leaving in there, sitting there 19 hours a week. We saw what that led to. He brought his closest friends into the program, and it led nowhere. There was so much rifts between the coaches and the players. If people knew how much rift there was between the players and the coaches, I mean, you could see it on the sidelines if you were there in person. You wouldn't see it on TV. But it all started with our defense with Coach Nolan. Coach Nolan brought in a new defense, and then with everything that was going on with the season, with the COVID and everything else, there was no time to collect ourselves together. The guys had no – and that was for all teams. Don't get me wrong. But with the new head coach, new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator, everything just coming in at one time, it was just one big drama after another. And the worst thing was the leadership. There was none. We had the leadership on the side, but it was spread throughout. And that's the part that I just couldn't get. Nobody stepped up to the game. We all thought we had a captain. The captains were changing every week. That one I didn't understand. You can't do that to an organization. You can't do that to a team. You can't do that to grown men. The grown men know how to lead. You got to leave them in those positions. You don't switch them up. But then we get to the first week. How did that game go against the Rams? We led that game a little bit. We played tight. But once we lost that game, the rift started with the defense just because of how open we were getting on that secondary. Everybody was getting behind. I mean, hell, our secondary couldn't keep anybody in front of them. Our defensive line was opening the gates for everybody to run through. That's where it started, right there in L.A., right in the brand new stadium, right at Sunday Night Football. It just went downhill from there. I mean, and then the injuries. Then it started leading to the injuries. The injuries are our offensive line. Tyron going there. You got Zach Martin. You had everybody. Then we lose, last year's, center of the year, Travis Frederick. That didn't help. So now we got young kids in there. So after everybody's getting hurt on the offensive line, I mean, it just tanked. You saw what we did against you in Philly. Sneaky G saw what we did to after Dak got hurt. I don't know how we came back with Andy Dalton on that one. And, of course, Keith, you saw what your Redskins did to us.
I remember Thanksgiving night. Yikes. Ugly.
Oh, that was a rough one.
Was I the only one that enjoyed that, though? I mean –
no, I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for me to watch.
I was just making sure.
Yeah, and then it was just one after another. There was just no correlation. There was no leadership. I couldn't get the guys. You couldn't get the guys. I'm saying but coaches couldn't get the guys to get the organization to get somebody out there. The changing of the captains, I've never seen that before. Captains changing week in, week out. I didn't understand that.
I think I've seen teams do that similar thing in the past.
I haven't seen it from my Cowboys.
Well, that could be true.
And then Sean Lee, of course, the guy everybody loves to hate. You know,
Who's coming back this year, right? Coming back
yeah.
healthy? Coming back healthy, right? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Gorilla Glue and duct tape himself. Yeah, at least preseason.
yeah, and then you know it. We looked at the schedule. We said, okay, the schedule. Everybody had the same schedule. You had the 2 home games, the 3 away games straight, and it just took a toll, I think, on all the players with staying in the hotels, not being able to be around other people, coaches not even being able to meet in person until it was game day. I mean, you couldn't practice. You had to stay in the same facility. There was no interactions between anybody. I think that took a toll on the whole NFL personally. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's how I mean.
Oh, I think it goes without saying that, it caused a lot of problems in a lot of different areas, with both on the field and off the field, for sure. You don't have the same interaction with your teammates, whether it's in practice or after practice or extra practice.
Right.
Yeah,
Right, everything.
that's the part that was just real hard. And then going to the games, you couldn't even enjoy the games. You had to be there. What games you could get to, it was just horrible the way. I think the biggest thing, no practice, guys getting hurt, more guys getting hurt, then no solutions on the back end. After week 8, it was either give or take. And we were giving most of those games away personally. I mean, hell, teams were averaging 450, 500 yards a game on us.
When Cleveland put that 50 burger on you guys,
Yeah.
I knew right then it was going to be a long season.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go back even further than that. When I saw McCarthy go in for that interview, and I swear that suit on him looked like a hot dog casing, and that was enough for me. I was like, they hired the right guy for the job, because I thought that he wasn't a really good coach in Green Bay. I feel like that he won because of his assistant coaches, and then when he lost that, he really didn't. He couldn't get back there again. So I was happy of the hire. But
I'm happy on the hire. I think, he's going to have to prove himself, though. Don't think Dan Quinn's not sitting there waiting in the wing.
I'm sure he is.
Dan Quinn didn't come over here just to say, hey, I'm going to be defensive coordinator. You don't carry – you got to – as head coach, there's always somebody waiting in the wing.
Yeah, well, Dan Quinn wants to get the job so he can continue to blow big leads in every game he coaches.
Right. Yeah, he has a negative effect of a resume on him. So
there can't be an NFL coach who has blown as many big leads as that guy. I can't think of him.
We took one of them from him last year.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I've always thought that there's some guys that make better coordinators than head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fact. Bill Belichick, every coordinator that's been underneath him can't succeed the way he has.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
They haven't won a Super Bowl without him.
No.
Yeah, that's facts.
When you look at it. No.
So next we have
okay, by the way. But
next we have who came in second in the division, the big guy above Dallas, Sneaky G.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Stefan, aka Sticky G Bird. Okay. Our season. First off, I do want to add to TruBlu. I got a lot of love for you, even though we disagree on teams. When we played you guys, you were literally one play away from being 0-4. If it wasn't for the inconsistent special team play of the Atlanta Falcons, it would have been 0-4 against 0-4. But I digress. And Jamie, we'll talk about your Eagles later. Actually, no. I'm going to quote Coach Judd again. We'll let that game speak for itself. Okay. Now I got that off my chest.
We're going to let the first one speak for that self, too? You brought back Ingram, didn't you? Ingram's still on the team. Right?
What do you mean Ingram?
Ingram's still on the team?
I am honestly not catching what you're throwing. What do you mean Ingram? What happened to Ingram? Now, you would have had me if you'd have said Deshaun.
No, well, no, I'm saying your guy just dropped.
Oh, Evan Ingram. Oh, yeah.
Ingram. Oh, what, you forget now?
See,
Oh, you
see,
better.
I mean,
I wanted to get the tears flowing again. Let's
actually,
go.
it was selective. No, I knew what you were talking about. It was. I was trying to be selective memory loss here. We were in a similar category as the Cowboys. First year head coach. After the debacle experiment of Pat Shurmur. Eli, first season, after, if I'm not mistaken, 16 seasons, he was no longer on the team. So this was going to be the first year since 2004 without our savior. Daniel Jones taking over the helm with a whole new coaching staff. There was hope in the air until Jones threw a pick in the Pittsburgh game, week 1. Although, I mean, the loss against the Rams, it was bittersweet for us to lose against the Steelers. What was it, week 2 against the Bears? Oh God, that's where it hurt. That's where it hurt. I mean, I actually, when I saw Saquon cut to the right the way you did, it didn't look good. It didn't look good at all. But the team showed grit. They showed fight. I don't believe in moral victories. I'm going to be honest. We lost the game. We lost the game. San Francisco's 49ers JV team put a spanking on us. I want to say maybe it was the emotional baggage of losing Saquon. I don't know, but we did not look ready. Week 4, it was a close game up until the last remaining minutes. Dallas Cowboys. TruBlu, I'll tell you how you guys won that game. The ref called back two touchdowns. Am I a little laggy?
You're good.
Okay. The refs called back 2 touchdowns off of a shift and a pick play. And then they missed at least 2 holding calls. But we rebounded, with the win against the football team. I couldn't imagine how we would have lost that game. I just couldn't imagine what the team coach did. I mean, we probably would have a whole new coaching staff this year if we would have lost that Washington game. Moving forward to Philly, like you said, I wanted to forget, but no, thank you for reminding me. Philly sports guy. Evan Ingram, which started to turn into a theme. I'll touch on that later. We had a close game against the Bucks. Again, I don't believe in moral victories. Everybody at work, I will say this, and on social media, claimed we were going to get blown out of that game. We lost by 2. No moral victories. We could say Jones should have, throw that last 2-point conversion a little early, but he hesitated. Again, that shows how experienced he is in Garrett's offense, which he should improve this year. Then we came back and swept Washington. Sorry, Keith, no offense.
None taken.
But then we broke the streak.
I don't want to see the paper towels come out again, or the.
No. I won't use it. No, we swept you. It's not. I don't want to. Add salt to injury. I don't want to do that. We ended the streak. We beat Philly. Finally, Philly sports guy called me minutes after the game. I was playing "Oh Happy Day" all throughout the house. It's on YouTube, by the way. It's a priceless piece. You should go check it out. Then we went on a winning streak. We went on a winning streak, which gave Giants fans something that we didn't have since 2016. Hope. Belief. It was beautiful. Oh, I love that feeling again. It was that feeling I had was missed. And when we shocked the world against Seattle, now that might have been the last hoorah, almost. We thought maybe, but damn, it felt good. Ah, it felt good. It would. I'm gonna use an army term. Behoove you to scroll down on my TikToks and just see how
Is that an
if I
army team? Really?
behoove. Yes, yes, it
It
is.
is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yes. I don't know. I heard it in the army. I haven't heard it since, Keith. I don't know. I mean,
Oh, all right.
I haven't heard a civilian say it to me yet. So,
Okay.
but hey, if I see someone say it to me from this day forth, I know they've seen the show now. So that there you have it.
Yeah.
Right. It's an army term
Yeah.
now, is what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, we then reality hit against Arizona. I don't know what the heck we were doing against Cleveland. I'm still trying to figure out why the hell did we methodically go down the field playing for first place. Everybody lost that week. We were the last game. We're going to fake a field goal and throw it to our center. If anything would cause someone to draw to alcoholism, it would have been that play alone.
I think the
But then-
Wile E. Coyote was calling the plays that day.
I guess so. I guess so. But then we had our moment that was almost dropped. Okay, no pun intended, Goldman. When we beat Dallas, we finally beat Dallas. Now I'm going to summarize everything. The turnovers was an issue with Jones and Evan. Injuries plagued our season. Not so much the new head coach, but I got to tell you, this coach that we have right now is definitely a breath of fresh air. McAdoo, some Giants fan would add another do to that. And Pat Shermer, you know what? McAdoo, add another do. Thank you for taking us to the playoffs. Which I am tired of seeing that boat picture, by the way. Shermer, hey, it was the best of times. I'm sorry, no, wait. It was the worst of times and the worst of times. But now it's not to be judged. Duh. See what I did there? And now we got some hope, fellas. And I believe we're gonna take the East next year. I said
All right,
it.
well, we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
I just slid it in there.
Yeah. And then, of course, the team that did win the NFC East with a sub 500 record, but still did win it, the Washington football team.
It was I think it's unfortunate that things got off the way that they did. I mean, the summer and, well, you had COVID going on, obviously, as we talked about. The team had this cloud hanging over it because of the rumors around the team about the sexual harassment suits, and things were going to go blow up. And there was all kinds of rumors about Daniel Snyder and this and that and the other thing. And it's hard for teams to focus during.
And I don't mean to cut you off. You could almost take it a step further before that in saying in the switch of the team from the Redskins to the football team.
Well, there is that as well. Good point, Pags. That caused a lot of controversy, and there's a lot of fans that are on both sides of that issue, and it's a polarizing issue. Daniel Snyder's a polarizing guy. Now he owns 100% of the team as of today. And, character flows from the top down. And I don't see Daniel Snyder as a high character guy myself. So that's where things start. And now that they did bring in a good head coach, a seasoned veteran coach who's had success in the league. He's taken teams to the Super Bowl. He's not won the big game, but took teams to the Super Bowl. But he was saddled with no quarterback. And then they were forced to play Haskins for the first 4 games. They were fortunate to win the first game. Philly, as Pags will say, that was a horrible loss, and probably I didn't hear the beginning of your conversation, Pags, but that was a horrible loss for Philadelphia. They had a big lead in that game. I think they're
Well,
7.
you know what? And not to cut you off again, but this is the one time that I think that cancer actually helped. I felt that half of football where their head coach could not come out when you're stuck, when you don't get to talk to anybody other than your coaching staff and your head coach, the one guy that you got to see every day for 6 weeks is now can't come out for the second half because he has to go get a transfusion because he's got cancer.
Yeah.
That was the most inspired half of football they played till about week 10.
Yeah. Agreed. And, that's the only – they were not good after that half of football for a long time. They lost the 5 or 6 straight, I guess. 5 straight. But Haskins was terrible. 1-5 all year long. When they finally bench him, and there's some bad losses in there to some, just bad losses. Haskins never should have been given that job. It was a bad draft decision. The team tried to justify it by playing him, and it put them in a hole. And then they make it worse by playing Allen afterwards. Because Smith's probably not ready to play. But I don't know how you go into that season and your 3 quarterbacks are Haskins, Allen, and Alex Smith, who's basically playing on one leg. Great story, Alex Smith, by the way. Great story.
Right.
But they put themselves in a hole, and now they're 1-5. But fortunately, TruBlu's Dallas Cowboys come to the rescue, blow them out 25-3.
You said come to the rescue. Keith, you had me messed up. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, I get it now. It's like one of those grenade jokes. You pull the pin and then everybody starts laughing. Then after a couple seconds.
It would behoove you to listen closely. So
you must watch the show.
Well, I feel like I heard it recently, but yes, I have watched your show recently. So yes, very good show. It would behoove me to watch more of it, of course. Because now you're forcing me to see how many times I get behooved into this show tonight. So anyway, the Cowboys rescue that and end that horrible losing streak with a 25-3 loss to the team formerly known as the Redskins. We get beat by the Giants, as was already mentioned. Lose again to a bad Detroit team. But Alex Smith starts to get his this will sound horrible, his legs under him. And they go on a 4-game win streak. Now they're beating the best teams in the league. They beat Cincinnati. They beat TruBlu, Dallas, twice. Pittsburgh, who was beginning their spiral a little bit. That
was their first loss, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
that was Pittsburgh's first loss.
Yeah,
that just for the guy, just for the one guy. I don't ever like to show these things, but just so Cameron, you could see that 100% because I did a little dance on one of them rally towels, a big yellow towel. I actually was so happy for the Washington football team that day because
it started Pittsburgh on their way down.
Yep.
When I saw how they played against Baltimore the week before, and then they said, "Oh, next week the Steelers has the Redskins," and even the commentators are like, "I don't know how well this team or how far." You're talking about the Steelers, how far they're going to go. I'm like, they're going to beat them. The Skins are going to beat them, and sure as hell. And then I never heard the end of it since. Not from you, Keith, because luckily we didn't know each other then. But, I mean, which well deserved, but the Steelers were ripe. They were very ripe for that loss.
Sure they were. Sure
Yeah.
they were. But they
Oh
win,
yeah. They definitely were.
and they beat San Francisco the week after to continue their winning streak. But then Smith's hurt, can't play. So guess what? Dwayne Haskins. They might better have played Clem Haskins, by the way. I don't even know.
I think Jamie was there. I think you were there when they took Dwayne Haskins, weren't you?
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
And then when the Giants took Jones, it was the same year when the Giants took Jones. The reaction from the Giants fan.
I was doing an interview with a Giants fan, and literally they took Daniel Jones, and I went back to him again. I actually had to go back, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with that. You could find that on my YouTube back in the day."
I swear, license plate man from the Giants about ripped his hair out.
Yeah, he was shocked. He was shocked.
There was a lot of Giant fans upset that they did not have Dwayne Haskins.
Yep.
Which yeah, be very thankful today.
Well, let me ask you this, and it's for everybody. And we're talking about Haskins here. I have been in constant battle with a Washington fan who says Haskins is better than Jones. Now, I completely disagree.
What's the criteria?
Because first they're saying that Haskins can make throws that Jones can't, and the footwork and vice versa. And the funny thing is, okay, Ohio State. Because to justify what he was explaining to me, he showed me a highlight from when he played for Ohio State, and then another football team fan showed me a highlight. I'm going to say Philly sports guy. Either it was the Eagles or the Jets. I think it had to been the Eagles that he was showing a highlight of Haskins making a completion. And I'm like, you're showing a highlight of the one game he won to prove a point. No. And for me, I mean, granted, now Haskins with the Steelers now, correct? Because he's the third string, I think.
He might be the first string. Yeah, he could be first string. Who knows?
Yeah.
Where's the Steelers guy? He could be the first string quarterback.
Well, with Haskins and his lack of discipline, and I'll say it. I mean, I'll say worth ethic, because if I'm comparing Jones and Haskins, Jones came back with 10 pounds of muscle. His footwork was better. Granted, hopefully he can more emphasis on the fumbling issues, but it's worth ethic. And Jones has it clearly. Maybe not so much with Haskins back then. Maybe that release helped him out and kind of gave him an eye-opening, saying, hey, I have an opportunity to be, in the NFL, let me take full advantage of it. So, but okay, is Haskins better than Jones? I'm going to ask that question.
No.
TruBlu?
No.
Philly sports guy?
I put him in the same category, actually.
No, you can't do a push.
I think
You
Daniel
can't do a
Jones
push.
stinks out loud.
I'm not that high on Jones, but that tells you how bad I think Haskins is.
Right. And that's the point I'm trying to make.
Well, and heads up. I mean, the Daniel Jones is, he's owned Washington. Owned them.
Mm-hmm.
4-0 against Washington.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, hopefully we can add some Eagles and Cowboys wins too. I mean, we already started a streak, so we'll see.
So anyway, the team formerly known as the Redskins were able to, and I hope it's okay, I like to refer to them right now as the team formerly known as the Redskins. They were able to survive 2 games of Clem Haskins playing quarterback. Came back with a big victory with Alex Smith coming back over the Eagles. But we don't want to get into that. We did that this morning, I think. So we probably don't want to do that again. But they won 5 of their last 7 games, despite Haskins playing 2 of them to win the division. They played well when they had to play well. They played better than the other teams in the division down the stretch. Yes, they were 7-9. They put themselves in a huge hole. They did win the division. They did give Tampa Bay a game for most of the game in the playoffs. All in all, with everything that went on with Snyder and the name change and the cancer for Coach Rivera, the fact that they didn't have a quarterback, and all in all, they had a fairly successful season. If you can call a 7-9 season successful, where you make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that Browns game that Sneaky G was pointed to, that was one of the bad ones. And after that, I knew we were going downhill.
Yeah.
But one thing that I still can't get over is the amount of injuries that we occurred during last year, and that really hurt. I mean, losing our left tackle, then our left guard, and then our right guard, and then our right tackle, and then people just shifting around. I mean, we had a makeshift line.
I don't know anything about that.
The injuries were everywhere over football.
Oh, yeah.
And the screwed up training camps played into that. I mean, a lot of things played into that.
Well, here's the fun thing. There's 17 games this year.
Yeah, they won't cause any more injuries, right?
Yeah. Well, I think also, and I know, Keith, we spoke about it briefly last week, and my heart, and I'm glad you brought it up about the evaluation process with lack of preseason games for those undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
And, my heart goes out to those players that I believe, and I think we all can agree, that they did not get a fair shot to make a roster.
No, you're right about
that. Now, did the NFL, did they allow, because of COVID, did they allow teams to increase the roster by a couple players? I can't. I remember seeing something about that, but
They had 15 on the practice squad.
Yeah, the practice squad.
Okay, but they still had a 53-man roster.
No, it's still not.
What do you mean?
Yeah, for the game, because 17 games, you're not even increasing the roster.
That'll make no sense.
Yeah, for dressing out.
That's where I disagree. Because I'll be 100% honest. And I know that we're going to talk about the 17 games.
I expect that from you all the time, by the way.
Right. Well, just me, because me as a liar or somebody who's shy, not able to speak up. I'm a fan of going to 18 games.
Exactly.
And not only should we go to 18 games, we should put in 2 bye weeks. And we should extend the season so that the Super Bowl is on President's Day weekend, so that we have off on Monday after the Super Bowl. I don't understand why they don't do it. They should propose this. They should move the rosters to 55 men, make it a 55-man roster. Do not count the punter.
Do not count the punter. You mean nothing. You get nothing.
Well, no, but I don't think that should count against the roster. So, it would make it like a 56-man roster, and do this now. I understand that now. I'm talking way too much because that's too much money now. Now we're talking way too much money because they're going to be adding too many players.
Well, no, you won't have to pay the punters because they're not really.
You don't have to pay the punters now. But I'm just saying that the punters shouldn't count against the roster spot. So really, go 56 men, 55 men. And a punter. So, but the punter is going to be, you're going to pay the punter anyways. You know what I mean? So, I don't know of many punters that are making $1 million a year. They're usually making 400, 500,000, and they better be kicking great to do that. So, realistically, move it to 55, 56 men. Keep the practice squad at 12 to 15 and give more of these guys a chance so that you have these unrestricted free agents that, undrafted free agents that could actually work their way in, especially now because when you have opposing leagues like the XFL is going to come back. They're actually going to try this. There's the Europe League is going to come back, not run by the NFL.
Just like
it's coming back.
Yes.
Oh, awesome!
And it's not being run by the NFL this time.
I'm going to call
the first time they failed either. By the way.
Yeah, because of the World League and then the NFL Europe, and now.
Well, the XFL was run by Vince McMahon the first time.
It still is.
Is it?
Well, no, no, the
They,
XFL is Rock. He sold it to the Rock.
Yeah.
The XFL did, yeah.
well, maybe
I,
they will be better then. Maybe they
I
will.
just want to talk about the hypocrisy of the NFL and Roger Goodell, because it all started. This whole conversation started when fans were upset about paying full price for preseason games. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember distinctly the conversation. It was on ESPN. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Keith.
No, I was just going to laugh. I was going to say 1984. So you go ahead.
Probably.
I was going to say every year.
Yeah. And so Goodell, I mean, I don't understand what angle Goodell's going at, because he's sitting there. First, he was in denial of concussions, although I don't want to speculate. I'm going to leave that alone. But then he comes out and talks about safety of the players. Our main concern is the players, the product on the field. But what do you do? Instead of lowering the cost of preseason games, which I'm sure fans would have loved and appreciated, because let's be fair, what starters play, unless it's like the third or the fourth preseason game, they play like a series or two or a quarter, and then that's it for the rest of the game. They cut 2 preseason games, add a regular season game, which is going to cause more injuries, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
More concussions. So how are you going to say, we care about the players, but then add another game? That's almost like spitting in their face, saying that it's raining. Because if you care about the players, you would minimize preseason, and maybe, even though they're doing more research on the equipment now, but now making the equipment more better, if that's were possible. I don't know. But adding another game, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I'd have to say I'm not a big fan of it either, and I agree with the hypocrisy commentary by you, Sneaky, because Goodell and the league, they don't care about player safety. They pretend they do. They say all the right things, and they don't care. They just don't care. And again, I don't say that they need to. You can't legislate violence out of a violent sport, right?
Right.
You're going to get hurt, but don't try to put a pretty face on it. It is what it is. And if people don't like it that it's a violent sport, they can get away from it. And people aren't going to. People aren't going to. That's what attracts people to the game. Sorry, betting in the violent nature of the game, it just does. That's my opinion, but
that's fair. That's fair.
I agree. And I agree with that. But like I said, that's why I feel that if they wanted to try to keep the revenue the same, because that's ultimately what the owners care about. They want to win championships and they want the money. That's really what it was. So and if they don't win championships but still get the money, they're okay with that too. You know what I mean? Because that's as much as Snyder or Jones or Lurie or I'm not even sure who owns the Giants.
Mora and Tish. Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
I know. Well, I know that they've owned them for a long time. So that realistically, as much as they love winning, is as much as they love counting the money. And that's really where it comes down to. That this is there's a reason why it's a non-profit organization, the NFL. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Because all the money goes into their pockets, and they have they have no profits to prove. So I get it 100%.
But is there a way to make too much money, Philly sports guy?
I don't know. Why don't we ask the owner of Amazon or
I know, right?
Exactly. Because that's what they do now. Now after they own Amazon or Microsoft and stuff like that, they buy football teams. Because it used to be that the sport of kings was horse racing. Now it's football. Now it's
NFL owner. Yep.
Yeah, well, there was a time where sports teams were owned by sportsmen, right? They were owned by guys who wanted to own something and win for the glory of it, not to make a gazillion dollars.
Right.
That is, and I give the Maras credit. I mean, they weren't gazillionaires when they bought the Giants in the 50s.
No, 1925, and I think it was $500.
I'm sorry, they go back farther than that. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it was like $500. Well, actually, what happened was, and that was they were trying to sell the Dallas Cowboys. They were going to give someone 3 tickets to the game, and then they ended up getting 3 tickets back, or like 6 tickets back. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That was funny in my head, but when it came out, it was like a fail. I'm sorry.
I will give it would behoove you to listen to the funnier people on the show so that you can.
I will take notes. I'll take notes.
So listen, just to bring it back into where we're trying to be at. So we got about 10 minutes left. 10 minutes left to be able to talk about this, and I want to start off. I'm going to start off, and I'll go backwards to forwards now. Keith, why do you think Washington and the NFC East is going to be better this year in comparison to last year?
Well, I think looking at the entire division, I think having a full real training camp, if they can have some kind of OTAs here after the draft, that would be helpful to all the teams in the East. There's talent here. Blue's got talent. Eagles still have some talent. If Jalen Hurts plays quarterback, can play quarterback, they're going to be competitive. The Giants and Daniel Jones have another year under their belt. He's playing in the same system for the second year in a row. If he takes care of the football, they're going to have to be better with all the weapons they put around him. There's no excuses in New York anymore. In Washington, I think the team will be better because of Ron Rivera still being there. There being a foundation that he started to lay last year. That foundation is on the defensive side of the football. They improved the offensive side of the football at the wide receiver position. They still got work to do at quarterback. I mean, I don't think they're done. I think they're going to draft a quarterback somewhere or bring another guy in. And Fitzy isn't necessarily the guy. There's going to be a competition in camp. I think he's going to get a chance if they don't bring in another quarterback. But I think the Washington defense is good enough to keep them in games. And I think Coach Rivera is an even hand where they haven't had an even hand in Washington in a while, right? You can't just jump around from Mike Shanahan to Gruden to, well, I guess I go back to Norv Turner, Marty Schottenheimer. Every 2 years, Snyder's looking for the flavor of the month, He's got to stick with a guy, and he's got a guy now who can wield a steady hand. And I think the coaching, I don't know about your coach yet, Pags. I like McCarthy. I really do. And I think he can, if he's given some time, he'll turn things around there. I like Joe Judge a lot. And you know what I feel about Ron Rivera. So I think there's some coaches that can continue to move these teams in the right direction.
TruBlu.
I think our season's going to be a hell of a lot better. I mean, a hell of a lot better with Quinn. I think that was our biggest move right there, the defensive side. Special teams played okay. I'm glad to see we got rid of a lot of defensive backs. A lot of our secondary had to go. We brought in a lot of fresh guys that Quinn's familiar with. He's got 2 or 3 guys he's really familiar with playing safety. I got Griffin on one side. I'm pretty sure we're going to go after the draft another cornerback here pretty soon in a couple of weeks. And then our offense is going to be clicking. I mean, we're going to get Dak Prescott back. That's the big one. We're going to get our line back. It's huge. Once all those guys come back, you're going to see a whole different. I mean, I think we're going to jump back to 2016. I'm sure we're going to run the table on some teams, especially you guys.
All right, Sneaky.
We have no excuses. Keith, you're right. We have no excuses. I don't believe
on your team than any team in the division. That's what I think.
Who, us?
Yeah.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah.
Get him in. He's opening up that wallet for his job. I mean, we all needed a number one. We got a number one. And now with the shift of having Slayton at number 2, Shep at slot. Defensive moves we've made. Mora was quoted as saying that these last 2 years was horrible. He's tired of losing. Well, yeah. So am I. I started by saying I was excited for having competitive football in January, and I was still having a losing record. We are all, and I have no problem speaking for the Giants family. We are all tired of losing. And we can all debate about if we're for or against Jones. I'm for him. The pressure's on. I think the only person that's safe in this equation is Judge. He's the only one that's safe. Mm-hmm. We have no choice but to get better. And I wish I can talk mess and whatnot, but I want to see it on the field. And I'm going to let their actions speak for me on the field this year. I rest my case, Your Honor.
So, we brought in a new coach and a new attitude. Obviously, the Giants fans are still crying about the fact that they, didn't get into the playoffs. I know that.
I like how you said that towards the end of the show, so I can't say nothing. I like
he started my morning the same way.
Exactly. That's it. Well, that's how I got introduced to the morning, and that's how I'm ending this show tonight. That listen, everybody is putting the Eagles in the back of the division. And the last time they were told that they were going to be in the back of the division was in 2017. Oh. And what happened in 2017? And it started then with a rookie kicker kicking a 62-yard field goal against the hapless Giants. And the next thing that we know, we go on a run where we win like 13 games in a row and wind up going to be number one in the NFC and then winning 3 playoff games as an underdog, 2 at home, and the Super Bowl against quite possibly or arguably the best quarterback to ever play the game. And next thing you know, it's stats. So that was what our expectations were in 2017. Now, is this team a Super Bowl team? No. I'm going to be real about it. However, they're not going to be as bad as everybody thinks they are. And I hope that everybody sleeps on us. I hope that they think. I would love for them to start to get the swagger back of being the underdog all the time, because we went from worst and go back to first. And that's what I think. There's a reason why somebody has not won 2 divisions in a row since the Eagles in 2000, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's because this division is still the hardest division in football. And I don't care what anybody else says. We own the most Super Bowls. We have the best record. We have the most Hall of Fame players in this division. And it is still by far the toughest division in the NFL. And although everybody licked their chops last year, because we played against the West, we played against the 2 toughest divisions to play against. They actually had the best records against, in the AFC and in the NFC. We played against the West and the AFC Central. They had the best records against us, in comparison to every other division. But that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing this year, because we're playing against, the NFC Central. They're not Central. I guess it's South, with Atlanta and Carolina. And not that I'm sleeping on Carolina, because I love the coach down there. But that we're going to be spanking them around a little bit. And then, I just feel like that we're going to win a lot more games that we are not going to get slated to win. And that's where I think that because of that, we're going to be competitive. I think that 9-7, 10-6 could still win this division next year. But I feel like that all of us are going to be just as competitive, but we'll all be closer to 8-8 and not 6-10.
Yeah, you mean 9-7, because there is no more 8-8.
Well, it's
That is correct. That is
They're
correct.
like 9-8. Yeah.
9-8 now. So, and we didn't even get a chance to talk about that. We'll save that for next week. We did briefly mention it, but it's we'll bring that up again next week because I don't like if you're going to choose an extra game, you make it against somebody who would be like a natural rival.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't like what they're doing with the crossover there.
yeah, like I thought. So I like the Giants and the Patriots. I think that makes for a natural rivalry. Unfortunately, I feel like that the Eagles and Dallas share a natural rival in Pittsburgh. I feel like that Washington and Seattle would almost seem like a natural rival because of it's Washington State and Washington D.C. But that's just my opinion, and we'll kind of drop it from there.
Well, the other thing
It
you
would
got to
behoove
think
you to
about,
do that. Yes.
yeah, the other thing you have to think about too is the overseas games.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
That everyone's going to have to play over there. Everyone's going to have to play over there, and somebody's going to have to give up a home game.
Right. Well, I'm all right with that. You know what I mean? If that's going to be the extra week, but then you got to have the bye week afterwards and stuff like that.
Right.
So let's close it out. Keith, I'm going to start with you because I know that you have been up all day. So let's start with you, Keith.
What am I saying? What are we doing?
We're closing out the show. So.
Oh. Well, I'm not. You called me a loss here. It would behoove me to really pay attention to what was going on. I would just say all of you should pay attention to Squeaky G. He brings a good word of the day to every show. So even when the Giants aren't playing well, I would expect that we're all going to improve our vocabulary throughout the year. That's all I
There, that's all he's got. So, there you go, TruBlu. We'll let you take it.
Right on. Yeah, I'm just excited to see what else is going to be coming here in the next coming days before the draft. There's been a lot of action this past week. Eagles are one of them who dropped out of the top 10. So we're going to see, and the Niners jumping in the top 3. So that makes a big difference. We're sitting at number 10 still. There's still plenty of time for us to be moving around. So it's going to be pretty interesting here pretty soon.
4 big weeks.
4 big weeks.
Sneaky.
Yeah, it would behoove everyone to watch the show every Wednesday. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I am looking forward to the season and to ensure that, Jones says who we think he can be. If that made sense. Keith, I'm trying to work on my vocabulary exactly.
I want to amend my previous remarks, please.
I did that on purpose just for you. But that being said, I can't wait for next year. And as always, let's go Giants! Oh!
More energy.
And of course, I'm going to bring up the rear as usual. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show. Again, we are part of Northeast Streaming Sports Network. You can find definitely Keith Engle with TGI Sports Talk, Sneaky G with the Make It Count podcast and Truce, and also mine with the Philly Sports Show. And we're all part of that. And we're all on Zodiac TV. So we really want to appreciate that for them allowing us on this to be able to give us this platform to be able to come to you not only on all the social medias and everything else, but also on TV because I look better. It's 75-inch television. Tell me about it. I want everybody to know. And that's what I say. And we're going to end it off like this. And I appreciate everybody from tuning in. Let's go, Birds. Go, Birds! Yeah! Everybody, have a great night. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, guys. Great night.
Have a good one, guys. See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. And then we got to go. There we go. Bam.
You're listening to Northeast Streaming Sports. A group of independent podcasts came together under one umbrella to give you a network that streams from Northeast New York down the East Coast to Louisiana and across the Atlantic Ocean to the United Kingdom. Northeast Streaming Sports streams live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Can be seen on Twitter and Instagram. Audio carried on Spotify with our own website for the best sports information, updates, commentary, and entertainment. Sportscope, TGI Sports Talk, The Safety and the Sports Writer, The Philly Sports Guy, The Mac and Jack Sports Show, Stu's Wrestling Podcast, Four Stripes on Ice, Talking Baseball with Sal and Gioletti, Unscripted, The Big Shaw Sports Report, Frankie C Sports, Fantasy Football Face-Off, 12 shows and growing. There's one place to get your sports on Northeast Streaming Sports.
And we're going to be coming back very quickly. We are doing
What?
the Nemesis show. The Nemesis show. So, Keith, just because I know that you were doing podcasts all day long today, Mac hit me with the last second that Zodiac has said that we needed to go for an extra hour tonight. So we are actually doing the Nemesis show since I am Sneaky G's nemesis. And I happen to be busting his balls.
And that's true.
We met.
And that's facts.
Since we met, we have been busting each other's balls, and so that's why we are still on for another hour moving forward. But I know you didn't know that because I wasn't able to kind of relay that to you because you're a busy man. You were all day long on TV.
Plus, I got a real job. I got too. You know.
I understand. But that's what's happening today. So if you want to stick
Nemesis. No, I think I'll let you Nemesis go to it. I don't want to. It would behoove me to step out of the room.
I tell you, that behoove, and I've never heard that as an Army saying because I've heard that all my life too. So.
Me too. But
yeah.
So, and I wasn't in the Army. I wasn't in the Army. I was in the real service in the Navy. So it's I know we're all in the same team. Just Navy's a little better.
Sure.
All right, guys. Listen, go to it. Have fun.
Keith, thank you very much.
See you guys.
I appreciate you coming on.
Bye.
So I'm going to start this off. Like I said I would, and we're going to put up a nice little background for everybody. That it's not going to show it that way. So now you're going to wind up seeing us.
We could do this. I mean, this would be.
I'm going to start it off with my main man. This is how Sneaky G and I met. We met on a bet. And we bet the first football game was like, okay, you win. If you win, I will talk high praises on the Giants. If you lose, you have to sing the song.
So I'm making this video ahead of time, and I've made a decision to just cut my losses and sing the damn song. So, in memory of Ingram's awesome non-play, meaning the catch that he didn't catch, that could have won us the game, but I'm just gonna let it go. Maestro, please. Fly, Eagles, fly, from the road to victory. Fly, Eagles, fight, total touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Let them hot low, hit them high, and watch the Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, from low to victory. EAGLES, Eagles.
So
that's what he was. That's yeah. Yeah, that's what he was hiding back there.
So yeah, and Of course, he had to put his own little spin in that, but I didn't tell him how he had to sing the song, just that he had to sing the song. And the reason why there was a little intro about that was because we did a double or nothing bet.
Mm-hmm.
And that double or nothing bet was, hey, listen, let's do a double or nothing, and I will put up my mohawk to your beard. To which that's why he had to make a decision to sing the damn song.
Yeah.
So ultimately, since we didn't bet the mohawk versus the beard, we decided that it would be merch. It would be merch that would have to be worn. And of course, the Eagles lost that game. And little does everybody know that Sneaky G lives in Dallas, Texas, and I was down for the Cowboys game. And here's what ensued. If it wasn't bad enough that I had to come to Dallas and we lost, but then again, have to.
Yes, sir.
Bets were made. Bets were paid.
Man, it looks good on you.
Let's go Giants.
Oh my God! No, he did it.
Ow.
Let's go Giants.
This is what I came to Dallas for. We did get some good barbecue. It's all right. I take my beating like a man.
Go Birds. Yeah.
For the record, I was sore for 2 weeks for just that little jog. Just want to let you know. I should have stretched. I should have did that Diamond Dallas stretch before. That was a full sprint too, by the way. Just want to.
Well, and just so that everybody knows that we were. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. There we go. Bam. That we were eating barbecue that day.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to, what's the name of the place? We might as well give them a little plug.
We were at Hard Eights over in Capel. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Guy Fieri went to that one. If I'm not mistaken, not when we were there, but and they had that really good Oreo cake.
Yep.
I
didn't get any Oreo cake.
Yeah.
I was too busy eating everything else.
Okay, now I'm going to tell you right now, Philly Sports Guy, when you come this year are you coming for the Dallas game?
I should be.
Okay, if you do, I got a place that we're going to go to. Heart Eight. I love you. I'm sorry. I hate. Okay, it's better and a little bit cheaper. And yeah, Sullivan Barbecue. I was there a couple weeks ago. You want to talk about getting fat and happy? Just wait. And then this time
He knows I can put it away. He knows that I can put away the food. Yeah, he was surprised. I look skinny, but
he out-ate me, ladies and gentlemen. Although this is a lie. This is a false sense of security right here. Don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you see. And then maybe TruBlu can come join us too.
Yeah, he would have to drive a little bit, but I think he could make it down. We could probably do it on a Saturday or something like that. And make that happen that way instead of trying to do it on a Monday. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, we put a lot of TikToks together. But from the moment that I met Sneaky G, I've been busting his chops a little bit because the Giants have been, the Eagles bitch. That's what they've been. They have been the stepchild for a very long time. We've been smacking him down. Every time they think they were going to win, smack. Smack.
And to be fair, yes, we did, had a lengthy losing streak. But the beauty of it is when we would come back to MetLife after a hard-fought loss, we looked at those 4 Lombardis and we said, we've had better days and we shall overcome.
That's because they didn't play them against the Eagles. Because if they played against the Eagles during any one of those, then they would have lost, including the year that they won their last Super Bowl, which I know everybody kind of was that 2011, right? The Eagles swept them that year too, right? Didn't that happen?
But who got the trophy? But who got the trophy at the end?
Well,
I mean, that's all there. It sounds good. It sounds great. But let's be fair. Who got the trophy? You can have the broom. You keep the broom. We'll get the Lombardi. And then we want the ring at the end. So, do they make rings for sweeps? They don't, do they? Do they make sweep? No. Oh, I'm just asking.
it's all right. That's all right. I know. I know that you were, like I said, at least you're close to my age, so that you were alive for it. I mean, most of the time I have to deal with people that weren't alive for it. So, and I know that Phil Simms is your hero back there.
Yes, he is.
When you see something like that, you see the Phil Simms in the background over there. He's another one that got his butt handed to him a lot of the times against the Eagles.
He had me at 22 of 25, 82%. I think, was it 285 yards, 3 touchdowns?
For one Super Bowl, right? He only did that for one. He didn't play in 2, right?
1.5. 1.5. We'll say 1. But he does have 2. If you look at Wikipedia, it shows 2, and he does have 2 on his finger. So
right, but he didn't win that second one, right? He got hurt. He was hurt.
Yes, he did. But he still has the ring. So, and he's known as a 2-time Super Bowl champ. So,
and who was the backup there?
Jeff Hotstetler. Jeff. Did I say Jack? Jeff. Yeah. It's Jeff Hotstetler, which is kind of ironic. Phil Simms, started the '86 Super Bowl, won it, MVP, went to Disney World. Jeff Hotstetler was the backup on that team. Then, come full circle, Jeff Hotstetler, came in and won the Super Bowl, although Otis Anderson was the MVP, and got a Super Bowl for that one. So it's funny how history and Otis Anderson too has 2 Super Bowls from that team from the '86. You know what, Philly? That's kind of what I miss. I miss the fact that you have players that the longevity of the player, they're known for staying on the team. I mean, this whole free agency of switching teams every 3 to 4 or whatever years, it wasn't like that in the '80s and the early '90s. And I don't know if you remember, but when Montana left San Fran to go to KC, that was a big deal. Right. That was a big deal.
Yeah. Hey, listen. I mean, I still hate Norman Brayman. I hate Norman Brayman because he wouldn't give any money to Reggie White, and Reggie White was ready to take a hometown discount, ready to stay here.
Yeah.
And wouldn't even give a contract offer. Not even a contract offer. Kept the whole city. He was nothing but a cheap ass used car salesman down in Florida. He was a piece of crap. I would say the S word if I was allowed to. He was such a piece. Yeah, exactly. Held the whole city at hostage. We're going to move the team here. We're going to move the team here. We're going to move the team here. Get the, I'm trying to reserve my curse words.
And I got to, I mean, and to your point, the Mara Tisch family, although I can't recall when the Tisch family came into play. But for the most part, we kept the Lawrence Taylors, the Leonard Marshalls, the Michael Strahans. Although by the time Michael Strahan, retired, we had a different GM. We didn't do the same thing with OC. Tuck went to with the Raiders for the last 2 years of his career. But by that time, football and free agency has evolved into something that we now know today. And I do. I will say I do miss the old days. But it is what it is. The one thing that's guaranteed in life is change, and you got to get used to it. So, and speaking of change, like we talked about earlier, Galladay coming over, big signing for us, and we'll see what he could do for our team.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So I wanted to go. Let's go back to your Super Bowls. Let's talk back.
Okay.
Just because So the tight end was Mark Bavaro.
Yes.
Both.
Yes. No, I think in 90, Bavaro, I want to say Howard Cross was in the second one. Because I know Mark went over to the Eagles. He went over with you guys, was in 1998.
Right, he did.
So yeah,
I thought it was after that because it's because I remember Keith Jackson. I thought Keith Jackson was part of 88, 89, 90 for the Eagles. So it would have been after the 90 Super Bowl, and Keith Jackson went to somewhere else.
Yeah, I want to say I know for a fact I want to say Bavaro was on that team, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think I think of certain tight ends from the Giants, and I think of Shockey. And how he never really equated to what he was supposed to be. He's like, I felt that he was a little, like he was a lot more talk than he was ability that he actually showed on the field.
No, I think for me, Shockey was exactly what I thought he was. Now, let's keep in mind he came from the U, won a national championship. I thought he was a dominant tight end. I believe he was a key role in the development of Eli Manning. And I think he caught Eli's first TD pass. But for me, growing up, for the tight ends, my favorite tight end, even though I respect Mark Bavaro to the fullest, but Howard Cross kind of was the one that stood out to me. When I would talk, when you would play street football with your friends, and y'all had that, I had that one wide receiver that did his thing. And I had that one who's still my best friend to this day. I would tell him what Howard would do, how he would do his little square out or a skinny post. So it was funny how I tailored my best friend how to play tight end, which he ended up playing in high school football. He knew nothing of the position, nothing. And it was because of Howard Cross. Although Keith Jackson is also a favorite of mine. I remember when he was with the Dolphins and he caught a bullet. Oh, fun fact. Keith Jackson. He caught a ball from Randall Cunningham, Dan Marino, and Brett Favre. He had an interview at one time. They said, out of those three quarterbacks, who threw harder? And you know what he said? I ain't answering that. If I ever get a chance to meet Keith Jackson, I'm gonna hand my phone to Mama Boss. So, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have him give me, if I have to have one of those handmade, detectors, before you walk into a building to make sure you ain't got nothing metal on you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign a disclosure agreement because I want to know the answer. I want to know. I gotta say it was Randall. Because Randall had those langy arms, and it looked like Michael Vick, although, Michael Vick threw the ball hard.
Right.
But Randall had just a velocity, almost like a flick of the wrist. But Marino could spin that ball like it wasn't nothing. Right. And we all know Brett Favre.
Who do you think out of those three? I know we're talking about tight ends. I know we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, but I kind of want to know: are you going to be a homer and say Randall?
And I'll tell you why I believe that it was Randall, and I'll actually put Marino. I thought was great, but I also thought he was really accurate. You know,
Oh yeah, yep.
and that was what made Dan Marino great. You know what I mean? I don't know that he had I think he had a quick release, but I don't believe I felt like because he was on the quick, he did quick passes. I mean, that was really when you think about Don Shula and the way that he did it, he was kind of the mindset on where the West Coast offense came from. The shorter passes, fast releases, get the ball to the guy as quickly as possible. So it was then that San Francisco started to really evolve that to make it a West Coast offense. And so he was because you were right there. He's only throwing 10 yards. He's bam, and he's hitting you. So the length, when it came to the length, he didn't have that. He had more of a touch when it went to the long ball.
Yeah, that's facts.
Brett Favre was a gunslinger. He was absolutely a gunslinger. So, and I mean, he threw the ball hard. I have to imagine that if you put the two, if you put all three of them together and you put a speedometer, like one of those things, to be able to a radar, you put it at 10 yards and you put it at 20 yards and then at 30 yards. My expectation is at 10 yards, they'd probably all be about the same. At 20 yards, Dan Marino falls off, and you would have Randall and Favre about the same. And then at 30 yards, you'd have Randall ahead. Okay. That's kind of how I believe that, because Randall was able to just kind of flick the ball and it go about 70 yards and it would go far. I think right now, when I think of Mahomes and the way that Mahomes can throw the ball and he could just kind of do a little blip and it go. That's what I think of. So I think that that's why I think that's the only reason why I say Randall I think had the hardest throw. That being said, I mean, realistically, if you put it in just in mindset, probably Brett Favre. Yeah, my expectation is that he would answer Brett Favre. So
yeah. That'd be a good matter of fact. If I ever ask him the question, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with Randall, and you say Brett Favre, okay?
Well, I think his answer would be Brett Favre.
Right. So now again, this is in theory. If I ever meet Keith Jackson, God willing, and I ask him the question, and I sign the non-disclosure, if he says Brett Favre, and I tell you, first bears on me, you won. Deal. But then, but if
I never ask.
Right. But if he says Randall, I'll tell you, let's take a shot. And if he says Marino, we'll say we're even. I'll just say push. I'm not gonna say what. I'll just say push. And you know what I'm talking about. Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Game.
That's fair. Now, I want to jump back with Shockey. I want to jump with Shockey. He was not a lot of people's favorite tight end, but he was mine. I enjoyed watching him. I loved his swag on the field. I mean, the preseason game where he ran over, the newly inaugurated Titans. He ran over like two players. I thought was awesome. It brought that New York feel, if you will. At the same time, my heart goes out to him because in 2007 he was hurt, and I mean by that time he was with the team 5 years, and he got injured. I felt he deserved a chance to at least be on the field, but whoever you believe in, the man upstairs, he had his opportunity with the Saints and he cashed in. He got the touchdown pass.
Yep.
You know, not only did he has one, now he has 2 Super Bowl rings. I mean, he won in high school, he won in college, and he won in the pros. I mean, that's a trifecta.
You know,
I,
and
well,
I will say that there's something about winning that begets winning.
mhm,
You know, I'm a firm believer of that. You know, like when you know how to win a championship, it's easier to get back to winning a championship because you know what it takes to get there and you can work your way through it. And that's the one thing that it's hard to accomplish. You can't. It's hard to
yeah,
reach the top. It's hard to reach
yeah.
the top. It's hard to be the best. You
Hmm.
got to work really hard at doing it. You gotta practice when you don't feel like practicing. You got to do the things you don't want to do to get there. And then when you get there, everybody wants to get you down as fast as
Hmm.
possible. So it's really hard to be the guy, to be the man all the time. And when you're there and you know how it is to have what it takes to win, that's the one impressive thing about Brady. That
Hmm.
he doesn't let the losses build up on him, and he's got a few. He's
Hmm.
got a few losses. But he doesn't let that build up on him, and he keeps getting
if
back there.
if I ever had an opportunity to talk to Brady, that would be one of the questions I'd ask, and that would be now. You're doing podcasting. I'm doing, and we've interviewed players. I don't give questions before I interview them. Because I want that emotion. I want that, that feel. I want it to be organic. I want it to be real. But that would be the one question that I would ask Brady prior to the interview. And to be fair to the audience and to him, I would definitely make it known. Hey, I did ask this question because it's a tough question. When you don't win the last game of the season. I'm not talking about losing in the wild card, divisional, conference round. Which remind me, I want to talk about conference championships too. What is different from the training you have? Like the getting up, hitting the weights, doing the reps, from training of when you win one, of when you lose one. The answer I want to hear is there is no difference. Is you get your opportunity in the championship game or opportunity period that you desire the most, you make the most of it, and there is that 50-50 of being successful or you fail at it. When you fail at it, learn why you failed and then move forward. And if you succeed, figure out what gets you back. And I want to know, that's the one part. But Jamie, I got to be honest. I don't know if I can't trust a man that don't like strawberries, because strawberries are delicious. I don't know what the issue is with that. He doesn't like strawberries.
Neither
You
do
didn't,
I. I'm not a
you don't like
strawberry fan.
what?
No, I'm not a strawberry fan.
Why? Why? Is it the texture? What is it?
No, it's not like I'm afraid to eat them. I can eat one. I just don't like him.
So it's the flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like I'm not a strawberry guy. Like I like ice cream. I could eat vanilla. I could eat chocolate. Strawberry, no. Even yogurt. Like I love blueberry yogurt. I can eat cherry yogurt. I can't eat strawberry yogurt.
You
Now my
can't
kids, my
even.
kids love strawberries. Yeah, me, I don't. I'm not a strawberry
Is there
guy.
is there anybody else in your family that don't like? I mean, is it hereditary? This has to be a condition. We need to seek you some medical help, because strawberry. And what about what? Okay, what if it's chocolate? Come on, it's chocolate covered strawberry. Everybody likes chocolate covered strawberry. I mean, come on.
I mean, I'll eat them. It's not like my thing.
Here I go. I don't know you anymore. Who are you?
Sorry. Yo, I'll eat chocolate covered bacon. I'll eat steak. I'll eat steak like a champ. But
Wait,
strawberries are not my thing.
chocolate covered bacon. Now that's. I got something.
Grapes.
I
It
got,
is
I got.
great.
Well, no, the salty with the bacon and the chocolate. You know what you should try this year for Thanksgiving? Get pumpkin pie and ham. Try it. Trust me, your life will never be the same. Your life will never be the same. Now,
Okay.
I want to ask you a question. You had brought up championships, right? I wait. Have you played sport? You played sports back in
Yeah,
the day, right? Okay. Have you won a championship?
I have. I have won a championship.
Oh, please continue, please. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time I've heard this, and I've
I,
known the man all my life. No, I'm kidding. 6 months. Go ahead.
so I softball. I've won two championships actually in softball, and one time was the first time we won. Uh, I was on the team, and I wasn't very good. I just got on this. I was the guy who was like they put me a catcher most of the time.
Uh-huh.
They didn't really bat me very much because we were in A division. I was probably more like a D division player, but
Uh-huh.
because I was friends with the guys. I was just as loud as I am. I was a really good, just I was just really good at pepping us up. People would yell at me to shut up, and I'd be like, no. Like my team would be like, shut up. I'm like, no, I ain't shutting up. We still got more to do. We got more to do, and just so then they couldn't get around me. So they tried to beat me up, kind of, and they
Right,
couldn't
right.
do it. And because of that, I was one of the team. You know what I mean? And we wound up winning a championship. And then the second time, I was like the co-manager of the team, and I actually was much better at the plate and much better at doing what I was doing. We were in B division, and uh, we had one of the players on our team. His wife died of cancer, and we
Okay.
dedicated that season to his wife, and we were not going to be denied. We just were
Right,
not going to be
right.
denied. You know.
My championship rings. That's my championship rings.
Yes, you say that. Which one?
They're in the bedroom in my box. Is mom in? Okay, I'm sorry.
So, and then you when you think about championships like that, I remember. I'm trying to think of. No, we didn't win one in football. I actually won a third one in softball for a different team, and back in the day, like it was like a smaller version. You know what I mean? Not like it wasn't like in a professional slow pitch, which is not really a thing, but you know what I mean? Not like wasn't a very competitive division except for the people that were trying to compete. And then of course, so I've won a number of softball championships.
Okay, okay. And how did it feel though? Like it felt good, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I tell you what, I mean, so I don't get paid by the Eagles. I don't play for the
What are you
Eagles,
talking about?
but I am part of the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
When I became the Philly sports guy, when I became that, my goal for that first season was I want to be so well known by the Eagles that they would almost feel like that I deserve a ring.
I love that. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because that's exactly how I feel.
Right. It's not.
Because it okay, I don't mean I'm sorry to cut you off right here because this is where you and I are the same. Because when 1990 came and I had the people call it pain and suffering. I call it earning your stripes. You know, the Dave Browns, the Kent Grahams, Danny Cannells, Kerry Collins, Kurt Warner, and then Eli Manning. Um, finally getting, finally getting that Super Bowl.
And if you could excuse me 1 second, the championship box that's on top of my sunglasses.
Yes, but
The rings. There's 4 boxes on top of
yes.
the sunglasses.
You want all 4 of them?
Just give me the big box with my rings in them.
Father, the thing is you have like 50,000 rings.
It's a big box. It's the big box. I'm sorry. We're not live yet, right? We're not live yet, right? We're not live. No, okay.
Nobody's seen it. Nobody sees it.
Okay, good. Because we can. We'll just edit this part out. When they won in 2007, I can't even explain it because we weren't supposed to win that one. I mean, you guys weren't supposed to win 2017 either.
Right.
And
I will say, I rooted.
You have 50,000
Thank
ring boxes.
you.
How the heck am I supposed to know which one, Father?
I do love them. I do love my family. Remember, Jamie, you promised you're going to edit this part out. I was fortunate enough. My 2-1. Well, I have a couple more, but I mean those are more like bowl games. Now, hear me out. Growing up, I remember seeing Bill Parcells doing an interview, and in that interview, he had his Super Bowl ring, the 1986 Super Bowl ring. I immediately became obsessed with Super Bowl rings. Well, with championship rings, period. High school, played high school ball. No luck. None. I played, went in the service. I went to Germany, played semi-pro. Got a concussion. The game that we clinched for the playoffs, got a concussion. They went off and won, and they sent me a ring, but I don't even know where it's at because I wasn't there. Didn't feel like it. Because there's you gotta. I don't know. I wasn't at the game. At least let me be at the game to enjoy it.
Right.
I digress. I was in Germany, 2000, and we played for our brigade. In basketball, out of all sports, I can't play basketball, Jamie. I brick a layup. But we won our brigade, and I have it now. I mean, and I'll let's see if this could do it any. Yes, that's gold. 10 karat, and I don't wear it because I don't want to lose it. Then I got out of the service, had a flag football team. Yes, you heard me correctly. A flag football team. We went to, we played in a weekend tournament called Let It Fly. The team name was Chaos, believe it or not. Our colors were black and yellow. And I wear this sometimes. We won our division, and the name and Let It Fly. And then if you see underneath, quarterback number 11. Who else has number 11, Jamie? Who else?
Well, I wear number 11.
Well, Phil Simms. No, I sure as hell didn't get my jersey after you. You know that.
The Philly sports guy wears number 11.
Yeah, no. That, you know what? Think about that. That would be weird though. If I say to you, do you know why I wear number 11? You're like, I don't know why. Because of you, Jamie. You will take me off this stream quicker than I would.
I'd be like, that's a little creepy. That's a little creepy. But I am not a Giants fan, so wear number 11 isn't anything.
Well, I mean, we talked
about it. It's the number I wear.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, but I will say, I mean, so out of the two that I have, I do wear the football one more so because I had more involvement. I threw the winning touchdown pass. I'm actually
the funny thing about this ring is that I got it. I mean, I've had it now for I've had this now for over a year, and I was in talks with Signature Jewelers. They make rings for high school, college, whatnot. And I, have a project that I'm working on, and I have other rings for the other guys. And one of these days I'll put it all together, and it'll be something fun to watch. But sadly, it was a 4-man flag football tournament, 2 days. I can only, after so many years, I only get in contact with three of them. The other 2, I don't know where they went. And we qualified to play for nationals, but we couldn't pick up any sponsors. I mean, when you're in Sierra Vista, Arizona, shout out 520, it's really hard to get some kind of sponsorship. When you're in a small town, so.
Right. No, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
So when I was in the Navy, I played. I actually, now we're talking a long time ago. They had a tryout for the Mets and the Marlins down in Norfolk, Virginia. And I was stationed at Little Creek, which was the amphibious base, which was in Virginia Beach. And I went to the tryouts. They were having it over a 3-day weekend, and there were thousands of people there. And literally they wanted to. So ultimately, I was an outfielder at the time. They wanted to see us track down balls and see if we could catch it. And ultimately, they hit you like 7 balls. Everybody gets 7 balls. Can you track them down? Can you catch it and throw them home? And I made it to the second day. And then it's just running 90 feet. They don't even care if you could hit the ball. That's running 90 feet. How fast can you run? They give you like 5 times running it. And that's where I got cut. That's what they said. Thank you very much, you slow ass bitch.
Ironically, after we won the basketball championship for the brigade, we went, because we're on a military base. We went over to grab some eat. I don't know how because we call it a PX. What'd you guys call it?
Yeah, PX.
PX? Oh, okay. Because, some people call it a BX. I think Air Force calls it a BX.
It's a commissary is what it's.
Well, commissary is the grocery store. I'm talking like the exchange where you go buy a TV or whatever.
Got you.
Yeah. Anyway. I mean, I know. Yeah. Anyway. So we're sitting in like a mini mall where they have the Anthony's Pizza, the Popeyes and all that. I look over, I see the guy in football jersey and football pads. And I mean, this is like early January. And I walked over and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Because this is another soldier. We got to talking. He told me that he plays for the BK Panthers. Oh, and by the way, they're having tryouts. And I'm thinking tryouts like a month, 2 months down the road. No, it was the following week. Showed up, threw the ball around. I had no expectations whatsoever. I don't know if you're familiar, but the German teams can only hold 6 Americans during game time at a time. To fill a roster, you can only have 6 Americans. And basically, I know we were talking about the NFL Europe. You got NFL Europe, Division 1, Division 2. We were Division 3. Long story short, coach walks up to me. Now, keep in mind, there were a couple guys that could run, but they couldn't throw. I knew I could beat them with my arm, but not my legs. Coach comes to me, and I'm like, okay, this is where he tells me you look good, maybe next year type deal. Walks up to me, hey, with a thick German accent. We practice. I can't do a German accent. I'm sorry. I tried. But he said, we practice Tuesday through Thursday. We watch film on Wednesday. In my mind, I'm thinking, okay, like, why are you telling me this? I guess I'll see you next year. And then he said, so we start practice, 3 weeks or like 4 weeks from today, or 4 weeks or whatever. Is that okay with you? I made the team? And he was like, yeah, did you hear something different? No. So anyway, I had to take a letter to my commander for him to approve it.
I was going to make like, at that time they had the Deutschmark. I was going to make like 500 marks per game. It was like 250 back then in American. But had I got hurt, I would have had to pay for my injuries. But because I didn't take the pay, the Army, I was able to use my medical insurance if I were to get hurt. It was fun, up until it lasted. Then I got the concussion, woke up in Longstool. I don't remember none of the day, of that day at all. And Mama Boss said, you're done. The NFL is not going to be calling you. You're done. But I threw a couple touchdown passes. I did throw one pick, although it was tipped, marking Evan Ingram. I had fun doing it. Left it all on the field, and then won a championship playing flag. Well, a couple more, but I mean, like I said, those were like bowl games. And life goes on. No regrets. No regrets, Jamie.
So, and I can appreciate that. I mean, I played on a flag football team in the Navy base for my ship, and it was there that I got the full learning on how to be a defensive back. I was really good at catching the ball. I could catch the ball in traffic. I'm not afraid. I wasn't afraid to get hit. My hands are big and strong, so I can catch the ball. But it was there that I learned how to close and get the ball out of somebody's hands when it's coming there. And I remember when the guy taught me, and he showed me one time, and that was all he needed to show me. I sat there and I kept doing it, and I kept going after the ball, like trying to catch the ball, and I would miss it, and then the guy would score. You know what I mean? Like, so I got beat on a couple of times just because I wasn't doing it. He's like, listen, you ain't catching these balls because they're not throwing them to you. They're not throwing them to you. And then he's like, you got to watch me next time. You sit over here and you watch me. And he sat there, and like the guy went up to get the ball, and he just literally put his hand on the ball and smacked it out of his hands. And from that moment on, I knew it was like, okay, I can play D-back because I actually am really good at covering. I'm good at reading the quarterback, and I was good at following the ball. And if I was playing strong safety, that nobody was going to get behind me because speed was going to kill me. So if you raced by me, I wasn't going to catch up. But if I had you in front of me, that I was going to be able to watch and see and get you. And I actually had a bunch of interceptions, scored a couple of touchdowns, did my thing. We didn't go anywhere. I mean, there were teams that were just so much better than we were. But
and I got to tell you, from playing high school football, back up, middle school football, where I'm offensive lineman, to high school football, to semi-pro, I saw more injuries in flag football than I did in all of tackle.
Yep.
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's crazy to think that. I saw broken fingers. Obviously, broken. Oh, God. You thought Dak's injury was bad. I mean, I literally saw almost like an Alex Smith injury, but it was like the shin. I mean, you heard the bone pop, and it wasn't on purpose. It wasn't on purpose.
No, of course, it's never on purpose.
Well, yeah.
I tell you, and you know what? And I know what that sounds like, being an arm wrestler. And when you hear that, when you hear that compound fracture happen, it's like, you tell the people ahead of time. You tell the people ahead of time, like, listen, it doesn't hurt right away. So, but you got to get out of the way. You got to get out then at that point. Get somebody to take you to the hospital. Because it's ugly. It's an ugly fracture to have. You get somebody to get you, and you hold it up here and get to the hospital because the pain's coming. The pain's coming, but it's not there right away.
Ooh,
and it hurts when everybody hears the sounds. Because that pop is it's different. Now,
I broke my ring finger playing flag football every Sunday. I mean, this is, oh man, to be a kid again. Every Sunday we would go to the high school football field, Loveless Field in Sierra Vista. Shout out 520. And we met up with, I mean, it was like a group of people. And here I am, freshman in high school playing against adults. And, the flag, because we all had, somebody brought flags. The flag wrapped around my ring finger, pulled it out, popped it back in. Thank God I was driving at the time. I went home and I said, Dad, we got to go to the hospital. And my dad's like, what do we got to go? He was like, man, what do we got to go to the hospital for? I'm like, I'm showing my finger, like, it was like this. I'm like, this ain't normal. This was, because this was down to here. And he was like, oh, yeah, we got to go. Oh, yeah, that's what I told you. That's what I said. We got to go.
So, it's funny that you talk about that back in high school. I'll never forget, I'm in 10th grade, and we're having a pickup game, just a pickup flag football game. 3 of the players on the other team, and I'll name them, and you may or may not have heard of them.
Okay.
One guy's name was Bob Kaburski.
Okay.
He was the backup to Reggie White for the Super Bowl years.
Okay.
Matt Blunden, who was a quarterback for the Chiefs.
Okay.
And Joe Valerio, who was a tackle for the Chiefs, who happened to get the most, for the longest time, had the best ratio of passes to caught. Like, he had 4 throws, 4 touchdowns, on tackle eligible plays.
Right. Okay.
4 for, he was 4 for 4, and 3 other guys that played against 6. Like me and 5 other guys, they gave us a 9-0 lead. We were going to 10.
Okay.
They gave us a 9, like we scored 9 times, and then they started to play. They got to 7, and we drove. We had the one drive, and we get it, and I catch the ball, and I'm about to go. I get it, like I get the ball, and this is when I knew I could catch. I catch the ball. I'm on the end zone, and they crushed me. They literally, it was a crushing. Like my ribs were bruised, anything. But all 3 of those guys got paid to play in the NFL. You know what I mean? And it was they lost that game. You know what I mean? And I scored the winning touchdown
on them.
On them. And I, like I said, when I think about it, I think about the feeling my ribs felt for about 3 weeks afterwards.
Right.
It was a good feeling because I scored the touchdown.
I know, right? Oh man, I'm telling you right now. I mean, I there's something about getting a touchdown pass, scoring a touchdown. There's no pain.
Yeah.
There's
it hurt
pain.
So bad, but we won the game. We won the game, and that was enough. That was enough.
Now, just to clarify, this was tackle football or flag?
Tackle.
Okay, I mean helmets, pads, and all that, or no? Oh, okay. Then I was tracking. I was tracking.
Yeah, that was definitely. We're out there in a field, literally, it was like a couple blocks up. It was behind It was behind our municipal building, right next door to. Like we had 2, like a senior high and a junior high, but originally before that, it was 2 junior highs that all went into a senior high. This was behind the one old junior high where we would actually play and stuff like that, and they were all from the area. So they were all really close to us. And like I said, it was amazing that because you thought that, it seemed like everybody was going to the NFL when you have 3 guys that from one spot that went to the NFL and played for a good amount of time. They said Bob Kaburski got a Super Bowl ring. Joe Valerio played for the Chiefs forever. You know what I mean? So those were games. And you think about that. I could name all the other guys that were on the other team. Tom Lafferty, Tom Frommel, Bob Apfel. You know what I mean? Those guys, and not all those guys were. They weren't as big, But those guys, I remember, like I said, I got crushed. They killed me to score that touchdown. And for 3 weeks later, I got to hold my ribs in pride.
I know are we running close?
Yeah, we got another 6 minutes, 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I'll make it quick. Back in the day, Sierra Vista, Arizona, I got to throw out the street that I grew up on, De Medici. I had some great friends, Cisco, David, Freeman, Nate, George. Who else? I think that was pretty much the five of us. Sometimes Chris, he came out and played. I'm not saying their last names for a reason, but we played 5-down football with a group of guys that lived across the street from us. They were all college guys, and we would play 5-down. Anybody knows what 5-down football is? There's no first downs. It's touchdowns or nothing. And one time, I mean, we're freshmen and juniors in high school. These guys have jobs 9 to 5. And we always played one touchdown, right? You know, you score, it's not 6, it's 1 point. And if it's tied up at 4, you got to win by 2. And they would destroy us. Not destroy, it was competitive, but they ended up running it away. Finally, one day, and no, I'm not going to say that. One day, we made it competitive. I threw a pass. It's street ball. It's all tag. And, you know, Freeman caught the tying touchdown. And it was a moment to just sit there and listen how everybody strategized. And I got this guy. You got that guy. It was just a moment that'd be one of the top 5 moments I wish I can have back. Just to be there for that touchdown and to celebrate and to rub it in their face. And then they come back and score 2 straight and we lost.
Right. But you had it for that moment.
We had that one. I mean, when Freeman caught that touchdown pass, I don't know how your streets are. So like you got the driveway and then it curves down, right? For us, the curve, you know, the little gutter, if you will,
yep.
was still in bounds. It was the sidewalk that was out of bounds. And you know, when Freeman had that, and we only played the 1 foot rule. It felt good. I mean, for that 1 minute, you know.
Yep. But yeah, because I couldn't even tell you how the first 9 touchdowns we scored because they gave them to us. You could tell they weren't playing, and they literally gave us the lead up to 9-0. Literally, it was 9-0. Like, oh yeah, we could do this, and then they started to play.
Yeah.
And then and you knew they started to play. And like I said, they made it to it was 9-7, and at that time we started to drive. You know what I mean? And we would do the 2 completions was a first down. You know, so but it was like 3 down. It was only 3 down, but 2 out of 3. If you got 2 completions out of 3, was a first down. So you got to keep going.
When I was in Seattle with my company, we had. I want to say this real quick. I put a group together to go play flag football, and you know we had a team meeting. I organized it, and everybody was like, "Well, who's the quarterback?" I said, "I'm the quarterback," and they kind of looked at me. I'm like, "We'll be fine." First play of the game, I told the guy to go deep, and I hit him. Jamie, I wish I had a picture of the look on their face. First play of the game, threw a bomb, dude cut it. They literally did this. Yes, I was slinging that rock, baby.
Nice.
I love the surprise. I love the yes, I did that.
And that's what makes it. That's what it's all for. It's just for that moment in time, because greatness, no matter how brief, stays with a man.
Yep. And I'm very humble, and you should know this about me. I am very humble because you doubted me. That's why I'm like, that was me.
So we're down to a minute.
All right.
I'm going to let you lead off.
Okay. Guys, those of you, thanks for watching. It was a pleasure to do this bonus hour with Philly Sports Guy. May I plug myself?
Absolutely.
Jamie?
Absolutely.
Okay, please go to TikTok, SneakyJim11. Go to my bio. You'll see everything. And if anything, I would love to see you tomorrow. Make it G Podcast. Last but not least, let's go Giants. Ow!
Same thing with me. Sneaky, thank you so much for doing this with me. I know we got thrown at this last second, but that's what's the show must go on, and damn it, I wouldn't be happy to do it with anybody else. I love it, and I feel like that that this is a match made in heaven or hell, whatever you want to talk about it. But definitely all the social medias, the Philly Sports Guy, you know where to find me. Go Birds! Yeah! Thank you, everybody. This is the Northeast Streaming Sports Network and Zodiac TV. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.